The Lighthouse was directed by Robert Eggers, and the plot is pretty simple. You know, two guys are trying to maintain a lighthouse while trying to maintain their sanity. They just happen to be Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Now, this film is very, it's mixed for a lot of people. From what I've seen on ratings, I saw it was pretty good, so I decided to check it out for myself. And let me tell you right now, this is set in the 1890s, the late 1890s, and I'll tell you right now, this is a trippy movie. The reason why I'm reviewing this is because I'm trying to review 3 Robert Pattinson movies before the Batman comes out. That way I can let you guys know that he's a legitimately good actor. And that way I can just have a lead up to that movie. Now before we get into the actual review, let's talk about something. Let's talk about A24, the company. A24 makes some of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. Not from the standpoint of just them being like, weird. It's just that a lot of them just don't make sense. But it's like a lot of them are very artistic, and that's what's made them stand out from a lot of other movies that have come out, especially more modern day. I mean, prime examples are like Hereditary or The Witch, or do you guys remember that one weird trailer that we saw, Lamb? You guys remember Lamb? I remember Lamb. And this one is no different from the rest of those movies. This is another one of their weird movies, but I'll tell you right now, I loved it. Just the overall look of this film. I'm making fun of the aspect ratio right now in the review, but I'll tell you right now, the reason why I love it so much is because of the aspect ratio and the color grading. Now, they basically make it look like one of those older films that you'd be seeing back in the day. That's crazy to me. And it just feels a little bit more timeless than what a lot of movies nowadays would be. A lot of movies are so intertwined with social media and trying to have a bunch of modern cities. Maybe the best stories are ones that don't always have to revolve around those things. And I'll tell you right now, I thought the look, the atmosphere, the feeling of uneasiness throughout this entire movie was just something to behold. It's something I haven't felt in quite a bit of time, honestly. And just the aspect ratio makes you focused in on what's right there on the screen. It gets your full attention and you just can't take your eyes off of it for the most part. And Willem Dafoe is a standout in this movie. Willem Dafoe has always been a treat in every movie that he's been in, but this really shows that this dude should have gotten an Oscar by this point, because he transforms himself into somebody who's completely different. And I'll tell you right now, the dynamics between him and Robert Pattinson, which Robert Pattinson is a good actor, stop thinking of him as the Twilight boy. This dude has developed over time, plus he was just in a bad movie. Can't blame actors for being in bad movies. I mean, if you're given bad direction, you're not gonna be as good. But if you're given good direction, then you're gonna work it out just fine. Back to Willem, I just love the dynamic between these two, because you can clearly see that Willem Dafoe's character is messing around with Robert Pattinson's character. Robert Pattinson's character just really hates Willem Dafoe in this movie. I mean, he just goes around messing with him. He tries to make him redo like tasks all over again. And even when he's doing stuff right, he tries to make him redo it. And
I tell you, I scrubbed this here place twice over.
And I say you did nothing of the sort. And I say you swab it again, and you swab it proper like this time, and you'll be swabbing it 10 times more after that.
He tries to make him do stuff, and then afterwards he's like, oh, never mind. He farts in his face when he leaves the room. Like, what? Why? Why? And he completely treats him like he's not like a human being. Like, he's basically like, hey, you know what? I got another young boy with me. Looks like I can just boss them around and tell them whatever they need to do. And he just displays conveying insanity as well as Robert Pattinson, because these two characters are both going insane on this island. And apparently Willem Dafoe has something special going on with the actual light in the lighthouse. I don't know what's going on there. They don't really explain it. And that's what I mean by intrigue can be caused by mystery as well, because the more mystery behind something, the more intrigued you are to find out what it is. Now in this film, you never find out what's in the actual lighthouse, but I'll tell you right now, it keeps your attention the entire way to find out what's in there. And the way the characters react to it, you must imagine that it's probably something pretty wild. that, or could be something that's completely not wild at all. Maybe it's all in their minds since they're, they're just nuts. Like, A24 decides to push the envelope on everything. Like, they have just a bunch of weird stuff throughout this entire movie. Like, everything that you could imagine going insane about in this, when you're out in the middle of nowhere surrounded by ocean, you can see it everywhere. Like, for example, mermaid ladies. What the heck was up with that? And then, Robert Pattinson, like, going insane with that, and Willem Dafoe, apparently. I don't get why that, and the fascination with the actual lighthouse. Tentacles, you see tentacles whenever Robert sees Willem in certain areas, so it makes you wonder, is he actually a real person, or is he just imagining all this just from being isolated from people for 4 weeks? Like, is any of this stuff real? And not to mention seagulls, because apparently there's a rule that if you kill a seagull, then it's bad luck. Yeah, I think Robert Pattinson killed that seagull. Yeah, bad luck throughout the rest of the movie. Like, things were already getting nuts. When that seagull died, it's like this movie completely took a 180 and just decided to go full A24 and just decided to have everything just be completely bonkers, tentacle creatures, mermaids, throwing poo out and seeing it flies back at you. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson fighting each other, and eventually, Willem Dafoe getting buried in dirt to just keep on rambling about how the lighthouse is his.
A toil that is ancient, beautiful, and unchanging, as the sea who girdles round the globe. The light belongs to me!
Oh yeah, and a whole lot of... But honestly, I'm not talking too much about the plot, really, because really what stands out the most in this movie are just the performances and the fact that it's trippy, because I'll tell you right now, if you were to ask me what the plot of it is, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, the synopsis I gave at the beginning of this is basically what I can give you right now, because, I mean, and it's funny because critics are like, talking about how this is a great movie, but I'm pretty sure if you ask them about the ending, they're going to be like, oh, it's amazing. Oh, really? What was it about? I don't know. And that's okay, because the ending is very open-ended. Like, the light. What is the meaning of the light? What is the meaning of all this? Was he really on an island? Because at the end, you see him getting eaten by seagulls. So it's like, did all this actually happen and he ended up going out into the middle of the sea? Was he around this guy and he put a curse over him and he went out, and then because he said he would get eaten by seagulls? Like, there's so many things that you can interpret this, but at the same time, it's just like a lot of it just couldn't add up. So that's what I mean by, like, it's up to interpretation, and it's really very trippy, and basically whatever your mind makes up, I guess that's the flow. This film has amazing performances by Robert and Willem, and just all around great effects, great look, great atmosphere, great music, great surrounding. This had to be one of the most immersive films that I've seen in a long time, and I'll tell you right now, it's easily A24's best from what I've seen so far. Easily, for me, personally. Now, again, if you don't like it, because I've seen quite a few people don't like this because it's very confusing, and then a lot of it, gets weird to the point where you just can't follow. That's fine. I mean, you don't have to follow. But like I said, the mystery factor is what makes this entire thing so fascinating and makes it such an immersive and just something that you want to watch to find out what happens. And if something doesn't happen, then it creates even more intrigue because your mind's still rushing, thinking about, okay, so how's this? A film that makes you think, in my opinion, does its job. For the most part. And yeah, easily a top tier film for me. I don't know what to say about this one. Now, I'm not going to rewatch this one over and over again because, again, I feel like I would end up like Willem Dafoe or Robert Pattinson after watching this multiple times.
Farts! You goddamn farts!
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. So what do you guys think of The Lighthouse if you've seen it already? And if you haven't seen it already, what do you guys think of my commentary on it, I guess? If you guys haven't already liked the video, make sure you guys like the video. And also, about 94% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure you guys subscribe down below. And while you're at it, make sure to join the Isaiahization after you subscribe.
I'm vengeance.